Our 40,000 gem giveaway is still going on, so enter into it if you want a chance to win, or don't enter into it if you don't want to win. It's your life. Hello everybody, we are here with your Kali guide. Starting off, she's a little unique. You're gonna have to pick a target at the start of your game. Your target will know who you pick, so choose wisely. I'm gonna go for the old Jaime boy. I'm gonna guess that that's a mid lane Heim, not a mid lane Apollo, but I could be wrong. We're gonna start off with our Assassin's Blessing, Tier 1 Mace, Health, Potion, Hand of the Gods, and Blink as our active. For Kali, while attack speed is very important for us, we are going to focus a little bit more on power here in the early game, which is going to give us some nice burst damage for the early game Kali, and then slowly transition into the attack speed Kali that you know. I find that this style of play really wields the best results for the entire game that you're playing, and you're not just AFKing until the 20-minute marker. For our first ability, we are going to be grabbing our 2. This is also the ability we'll max out first. Lash. Kali throws several blades. Each does damage and a bleed, and you gain physical lifesteal against the target acquired by this bleed. So you can see this is a very unique targeter, but that little circle is what you're aiming for. That little circle means all of your blades are going to cross into this section and hit. So you want to just make sure you're using that on the big buff. Or on the enemy god, just try to put them in that circle and you'll land on everything. For something like throwing it really far, you can see, whoop, I can just throw that bleed all the way over there, and Achilles should be able to finish that up and combine with my bleed for the clear. No, unfortunately, he just, I think he missed one auto attack on the blue. That's okay. So it is actually going to be Apollo mid. He's going to dash in. That's fine. We're going to head over the red buff. I was there quite early, actually, because I threw out the lash from afar. Oh, my goodness. Speaking of quite early, I'm going to wait for that Athena 3, actually, to finish up on the red buff before I go into the next auto attack so we can make sure that we get it. The ability that I'm going to get at level 2 is my 3. You can get your 1 at level 2, especially if you're not feeling safe. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. But I am going to get my stun in order to be more aggressive if I can find the opportunity, which is going to be over here at these mid-right harpies, it seems. So what is our 3? Our 3 is a circle around Kali. This is going to stun anybody in the immediate vicinity around you. It is also going to give Kali a power buff. So it's going to stun for 1 second, and then it's going to give you a pretty nice power buff. This is one of the reasons why we end up building attack speed on Kali, because she has such a natural power stim in her kit. At level 3, you're going to be getting the ability that you didn't grab at level 2. In this case, for me, this is going to be our leap, our getaway ability. But it's not just a getaway ability. For Kali, this jump is going to be a standard leap that does damage on the target location. But the important thing is we heal for 20% of a target's missing health at that location. What that means is the lower the target, the HP of the character that you're landing on, and the more HP that they have, the more that you will heal. So if you jump on somebody with full HP, you're not going to heal at all. If you jump on somebody that has like no HP, well then you're going to basically heal for 20% of their total HP pool, essentially. Reminder that on year 2, we didn't talk about exactly everything. So because we got to focusing on the actual blade damage on the targeter. So this does damage. The more blades you hit, the more damage it does. It also throws down a bleed on the target. And it also gives lifesteal. So this lifesteal aspect is pretty interesting. I don't know if there's any other ability that really does this in Smite, actually. So the bleed lasts for 3 seconds, but it gives you a physical lifesteal against the targets affected. So when you actually use this lash on the target, if you're attacking those targets, if you watch my HP, I actually get lifesteal as if I basically had a lifesteal item against them. And yes, this does stack with other, if you were to theoretically have lifesteal items, you'd be getting those lifesteal procs, plus you'd be getting the physical lifesteal from the Lash. Standardly on Kali, you're not really gonna build lifesteal, with the possible exception of Bloodforge. So we're gonna back up here, and I'm already gonna do one thing kind of crazy. I'm gonna get Warrior Tabi instead of attack speed boots. I really like early power on Kali, and then transitioning into the auto attacks. You can also see we've been focusing pretty heavily on the farm. That is because Kali, much like Bakasura, is a very farm-oriented god in the early game. Next up, we've got our ultimate. Our ultimate is going to be a damage over time around us. We basically throw out our blades rapidly. You can continue to auto attack while this ability is going, and so it basically just adds some damage around you. But also, the most important part, getting Apollo beats is pretty important. The most important part, you cannot die while this ability is activated, and the duration of this ability goes up every time you put a point in it, which means we want to make sure we're getting our ultimate every single time that we can. This is going to keep you alive for 3.5 to 4.5 seconds, plus that bleed around you. If you're under 15% health at the end of this ability, Kali will heal up to 15% health. So when you end this ability, you're always going to heal back up to 15%. Keep in mind, all of these Kali effects are affected by anti-heal. Your ulti, your 2, and most your 1, a lot of like random healing built in her kit, but also your passive. Kali arguably has one of the best passives in the game. We talked about it earlier when we chose our target, but we didn't really get into it, and that because it is pretty wordy. So you mark a target, you can see your target there in the circle below. So right now my target is Ganesh. My target is Ganesh because the Heim has since died since his target was on him, and the target goes to the next closest member of the enemy team. So because he is in the lane with Ganesh, that means that when Heim died because my duo lane killed him, my target went over to Ganesh. What exactly does this passive do special? Well, step 1, we have increased physical pen against the target, 10% physical pen, plus 1 per level. So when I go attack this Ganesh, I'm going to be attacking him as if I had a pen item, basically. And you can see that the next closest target was Apollo, so my target immediately switches to Apollo. Not only do you get bonus pen against them, you will also heal if you kill them for 80% of your max health. And if you get an assist for the credit, then you will heal for 20% of your max health. But wait, there's more. You also get a set of steak knives. That is right. Not only do you get bonus pen, not only do you get basically a full heal if you kill him, you also get an increased gold bounty. Gold bounty is increased 30% for a kill or for a assist. Literally a mind-bogglingly good passive. I do want to throw out one more time. All of this Kali stuff is affected by anti-heal, okay? Pestilence, Sobek's built-in anti-heal, Divine Ruin, whatever. All of your stuff is like a genuine, actual healing. And so if you have anti-heal, you will not heal from your passive as much. You'll not heal from your 1, your 2, all of it. So keep in mind that anti-heal is extremely effective against Kali. Back to our abilities really quick for our official level order. It is 4, 2, 3, 1. So the reason why it's 4, 2, 3, 1 is obviously we want to get our ultimate ranked up as soon as possible. Not being able to die, that's pretty self-explanatory. For our 2, it's going to increase our damage and the amount of physical lifesteal that we get, which is awesome, which is why we do a 2nd. Then we get our 3 ranked up 3rd because it's going to increase the buff duration. That buff duration meaning the amount of time that we actually have that bonus power on us. And then, of course, we level up our 1 last The reason why we level up the 1 last is all it's going to give us is increased damage on this ability. That doesn't affect the heal at all because the heal is based off of the target's missing HP. And so we level it up last. I'm going to back it up and I'm going to get a Crusher. I think Crusher is an extremely crucial item on Kali. And with the combination of Warrior's Blessing and Crusher in the early game, you're going to have a lot of power, some nice flat pen from the Crusher. That little extra bleed from Crusher on top of your bleed will help you round out your kills. And this will make Kali an actual formidable force in the early game instead of needing to wait until the 15 to 20 minute marker to really play the game. So I'm going to blink in here on my Apollo. Because I blinked, that means I've still got my jump up to continue to chase targets. Ganesh is now my target. You can see that he's my target by one, looking at the actual god themselves. He's got the little marker on him, or by looking down at your little passive meter. Your standard combination on Ganesh, yes. Your standard combination on Kali is going to be to blink in on your target and stun. You always want to start off your combat on Kali with your stun. The reason why you always want to start with your stun is because, one, stuns are great, and it's going to set up your lash without you having to worry about really trying to hit it. But two, it gives you bonus power. It's going to give you bonus power for right now up to 7 seconds. That means that I will get increased damage on my lash from the scaling. It means that all my autos are going to be doing extra damage. Everything, you always want to start off and give yourself that extra power at the start. It's basically like having an extra item. So we start off the fight with our 3. Because they're stunned, now we can't miss our lash. So we're going to guaranteed get every hit from our lash. So 3, 2, and then just start railing on the enemy team with your auto attacks. When throwing Kali's lash at a wave, you can see what I did right there is I walked right up to the melee creeps. That way, when I throw out the lash from my body, it's still going to hit them. And I'm also going to land the archers. So I throw down my circle on the archers, but I walk right up to these creeps. That way my lash still hits the melee creeps in front of me. It's going to clear them while also clearing those archers in the back. Backing up, I'm going to get a hastened katana right now, as well as my beads. I think hastened on Kali is still mandatory. As good of an item as Atalanta's bow is, I find that Kali in particular really needs that hastened effect to stick on her targets, and in order to make her as devastating as possible, I like to get hastened on her as either a 3rd or a 4th item. Any earlier and you're not going to have enough damage yet for it to really matter, which is why we went into the Warrior Tabi and the Crusher. Any later and you're going to be missing some kill opportunities. I'm going to pop my beads just so I can start to run away from this. I know the Athena's going to come in and taunt me. I'm spamming my ultimate right now, so that way as soon as I come out of that taunt, I will start... as soon as I come out of the taunt, I will be unable to die. So while I was spinning right there, not able to die, I'm just going to go heal off of this creep. Reminder that you've got your Assassin's Blessing, so you're going to heal when those jungle camps die. But you're also going to heal because of your lash. So another way to heal up is to use my 2 on this wave, which is going to bring all of these creeps very low, so then I can jump on top of them and get a little heal from my lash percent and also get the heal from the 1. The heal is going to be most efficient on a jungle camp because the jungle camp has so much more HP and you're healing for percentage of HP basically that they're missing. It means if you get a jungle camp like that purple buff really low and then you jump on top of it, you're going to get a big, thick heal like we just got. Looking towards Ganesh because he is my target. Even if I don't kill him, I will still get a heal off of that. And now that is going to transfer Heim to be my target. So I go up to the Heim. I 3, I auto attack, I cancel my auto attack after my 3 with my lash, and then I immediately go back into holding down my left click. So once again on that easy combo, 3, left click really quick, cancel your auto attack with your 2, and then continue on beating them down. As our fourth item this game, I'm going to go into a kin size. Kin size right now is a very popular item because of all the HP being built. All the HP is being built because there's so much penetration, and so nobody wants to stack up on protections because the pen is so easy to acquire. So I'm going to go right into a fourth item kins for against their team. They've got a Chalk, an Athena, and a Ganesh. 3 out of 5 of them are very tanky targets. This is why we're going to get that kins right now. Another item that you can keep your eye on here is Serrated Edge. Serrated Edge is a great item on Kali. The only problem with it is that means you have to use your jump aggressively, which is fine. It can be a pretty good aggressive ability. I oftentimes like to keep it up though as a getaway skill, so just depending on your exact play style, you won't be able to get the most out of Serrated Edge unless you are using that jump in aggressively. So if you're gonna buy that instead of doing the blink in combo, oftentimes you're gonna jump in, then stun into to make sure that all of your auto attacks get that bonus auto attack damage on her. Totally fine, just you gotta shift up your playstyle a little bit to get the maximum effectiveness from that Serrated Edge, which we are going to do as our 5th item this game. But I don't really wanna have to jump into fights to get the most out of my build right now. So I'm gonna get the kins 4th, then I'll get the Serrated Edge 5th, which will also give me that percent pen, which I will need so drastically. For Kali's matchups, Kali hates going against gods with disarms. She is completely reliant on her auto attacks after the 15-minute marker, which means that gods that can disarm you will ruin your life. So anybody like a Bellona, Suki, notably, who has been introduced recently, anybody that has easy to hit, low cooldown disarms is going to just absolutely ruin your day. CC in general is kind of hard for Kali. Like she doesn't want to go against a Kumbhakarna, even though Kumbhakarna doesn't have a disarm. He's got a Mez, he's got a Rue, he's got the thing that knives you up. He's just annoying on all fronts. So a high CC in general can be annoying for her, but in particular, the worst CC for her is those disarms. Because who wants to beads a disarm? Nasty. As far as gods that she's good against, anybody that can't CC her brains out over and over and over again. Kali is great at chasing targets over walls, so you have no problem with going against gods with leaps. She has no problems going against gods that have any form of getaway. Pretty much nobody can get away from Kali. Once you get that hastened katana online, she's extremely good at sticking to her target. Because you're going to have the blink, of course, in the jungle, because you're going to have your jump, because you've got the hasten, nobody's going to be able to get away from you. So she loves chasing down anybody that can't get away. The only person that can really get away from her is anybody that can CC her into oblivion. So as long as the target isn't super high CC, you're gonna be fine. So Kali don't mind going against Thoth. She don't mind going against Rama. She don't mind going against Heim, right? Doesn't mind this stuff at all. The thing about Kali as well is like going against a Heim, he really has one real form of CC, that being his ulti. It's super easy to just bead yourself out of it. If you can beads their one real form of CC and then just keep railing on them, you're gonna be totally fine. The problem for Kali comes in with multiple back-to-back forms of CC. Somebody like Sobek that can tail whip her off of somebody and then pluck her away and then slow her with the ulti. That's what starts to be devastating for Kali. Kumbhakarna throws you in the air and then he mezzes you, and which also slows, and then he roots you, and then this is back. Like, that's what really gets to Kali.
Your right tower is under attack.
So we're gonna back up, get a little bit closer, get our Serrated Edge online, and a Sentry Ward for the Fire Giant. As far as playing Kali, you're looking to mostly farm for the first 10 to 15 minutes of the game. Obviously, if you feel as though you can get a quick gank off, particularly when your blink is up, you blink on somebody, stun them, throw them down, easy peasy. Much like on a lot of junglers, we're waiting for our ulti to get our ganks off. On Kali, you're basically just waiting for your blink. The blink is going to give you super increased efficacy on your ganks. So blink up equals gank, otherwise equals farm. But above all else, you are focusing on that farming in order to get to level 20 and as far in your build as soon as possible, because the later game you get on Kali, the better you are. Still one of the best late game gods in Smite. Very good in team fights because of her ultimate, very good in 1v1s, very good all around. As far as your job in the team fights as Kali, you are a traditional assassin. That means that your job is to get into the backline and assassinate their squishiest, highest damage dealing targets. So for me this game, looking at their team, they've got an Athena that's pretty big, but she's also an Athena, but he is quite squishy. So Athena's not a bad target for me at all this game, because he is going a damage jungle Athena build. So my high priority targets are Athena and Apollo above all else. The Chalk is a little tanky. The Ganesh is obviously tanky. And the Heim is under leveled, so I don't have to super focus on him and worry about him. So my target priority gets to go into Athena. And then the Apollo. As we're moving in towards these Phoenix fights, my goal is going to be to pick off stragglers. Anybody trying to get that last second farm is a great target for me. I also like to transition from the speed buff to the purple buff at the end of the game for Kali. As long as your build that you're running isn't over capping on attack speed, then getting a little bit of extra attack speed from the purple buff and a little bit of that flat pen is going to help you bring down targets even faster. So I'm just kind of walking around, trying to see if anybody's out of position. If nobody's going to be out of position, then I'm going to look in the back line for my target. My target is Heim, so I'm going to go for him first. When he dies, it's going to transfer my target to another person, so now I'm going to be able to go for Athena, because he is my target now. I'm going to preemptively pop my beads and my ultimate so I can't die while I grab this kill. Then I can go for the Ganesh. I can grab myself another kill, and then I can chase down for the Chalk here in the fountain, and I'm not going to be able to bring him down. But he did actually come out of the fountain, so I'm going to go for him again just because I'm a greedy boy. But that is how you are looking to play Kali in the team fights. As much as I wanted to go for the Apollo first and the Athena, my target was the Heim. And in the middle of a team fight, you always want to try to get your target down first. When you get your target down first, one, you obviously have the increased pen against the target. So even if it takes your target, you have a fairly easy time taking them down. And then it's going to transfer your target to the next person, which means you're going to have heal opportunity after heal opportunity after heal opportunity, as long as you keep focusing that person with your target. In the middle of a team fight, I find it hard to look down actually at this little icon to see who my target is. It's much easier to see that little icon on top of the target, so be aware of that and just keep focusing, and you're just going to keep getting kill after kill after kill after kill after kill. Here at the very end of the game, you have a lot of options. As far as the items that you can buy, I'm going to make Apollo my target. I personally like a Blood Forge at the end of the game for Kali. The reason why I like a Blood Forge here is a lot of teams are actually going to build at least a high level gameplay. A lot of teams are going to start building anti-heal against you as Kali, which means you're going to lose a lot of that passive aggressiveness because of the way that it allows you to play. But if you have a Blood Forge is kind of like a mini passive when you get that kill. If you can get that Blood Forge shield on top of whatever small heal you might be getting from a team that's building anti-heal, it will still allow you to go very, very aggressive in those fights and go for that play style that we were just doing. Throwing down my 2 where the Athena's going to be landing. I'm going to throw down my 3 here for some bonus power. That way my auto attacks will be able to kill her before she can get her ultimate off. I would be careful about picking Kali right now in the meta. just be aware that block stacks are super meta right now. The reason why block stacks are meta is because gods like Kali, like Mercury, became super popular. They became super popular for the reason that attack speed items like Golden Blade, Serrated Edge, Kin, you know, all of these are super popular, super strong items right now. But that means that you'll often encounter a plethora of people on the enemy team building Hide of the Nemean Lion, building shells. Luckily, Kali actually does decent against that. I actually think Kali is one of the better gods into high block stacks because her builds are almost always going to have 2.0 plus attack speed. It means that you can burn through those block stacks really fast compared to a god like Mercury, who's going to be building crit and is more reliant on one-time big pows to the face with crits. Kali is going to focus more on the attack speed side of things, which means that she can burn through those block stacks faster. But do be aware that enemies are going to be building shells. They're going to be building Hide of the Nemean Lions in order to counter you, or even anti-attack speed things like Midgardian Mail like Witchblade. So just keep in mind those, and you might need to move your build around a little bit here or a little bit there in order to make that work. As far as my last item in that game, I would have sold my boots to grab a little bit more attack speed. So depending on how that game was going, it might have been an oboe for in the team fights, just to get a lot of oboe procs going, as well as maybe reducing block stacks. If I was feeling like their team was really tanky, you know, they were rocking those 3 potential tanks, maybe I grab an Atalanta's bow at the end of the game just to make it a full 40% pen in my build. Or maybe I just go something defensive like our Mantle of Discord if I felt like I was getting one shot before I could get my ultimate off, or I was getting CC'd too much. So I wanted another form of CC immunity. And that, guys, is our Kali guide.